Hello students, welcome to a new session. So we are after a long break and today we are going to discuss about time and tense. Okay, so hope all of you are keeping fine and now we will speak about time and tense. So with regard to English or with regard to any language, tense is very important. Using tense in an appropriate place is very important in any language. So as far as English is concerned, it is very important. So as you know, there are almost 3 tenses and there are 4 divisions for each of these tenses, like present, past, or past, present, and future. So now we are going to discuss about these tenses and how to use these tenses, or else in another way we can say that where to use these tenses, or what how are these tenses used to indicate certain tenses are used to indicate different kind of actions. So today in this class we will learn about all those kind of things. So before going to all those kind of things, we will just see about how to make a simple present tense. So we begin with the present tense, and in present tense we have 4 subdivisions, like simple present, present continuous, present perfect, and present perfect continuous. So we will discuss about simple present and present continuous in this class. And we will also speak about the what are the uses of a simple present, or where to use simple present, and how to use simple present, and so on. Okay, so in the beginning, what is the structure of a sentence? That is subject plus verb plus object. Is it subject plus verb plus object? So now we move on to see about simple present. And what is the use of simple present? How to make a sentence in simple present? It is subject plus V1 plus object. What do you mean by V1? It is the first form of the verb is known as a V1. Okay, for example, he plays tennis. He plays football. I play football. I take class. I talk to you. You listen to me. So all these are simple present tense. All these are simple present tense. This is a structure. So you might have studied all these things in your previous classes. So I don't have to go further into the structure of the sentence. Rather than we move on to speak about the usages of simple present tense, or where to use simple present tense. Okay, now simple present tense is used to indicate about facts, repeated actions, habitual actions, then customs, and then abilities, and also about, in order to speak about future. So now, where do we use this simple present tense? In order to speak about a fact. So what do you mean by a fact or a scientific truth? Like a magnet attracts iron. It's a fact, or we can say it's a scientific truth. So there won't be any change with regard to the sentence. Or else, like honey is sweet. Honey is sweet. This is a fact. So there is people haven't found out honey with another taste. It's always sweet. So it's a fact. Or like a magnet attracts iron. It's a scientific truth. Or sun rises in the east. Sun rises in the east. So all these are facts. So when we speak about or when we speak a fact or a scientific truth, we will always speak. We always use simple present tense. So what is that? The first one is fact. Fact. And what is the second one? It is or repeated actions or habitual actions or customs. We can say repeated actions. Repeated actions. Repeated actions. So what are these repeated actions? Like, for example, I get up in the morning. I get up at 6 in the morning. I get up 6 in the morning every day. So this is a habitual action or a repeated action, or like he visits his family every weekend. So that there is an example which is given in a textbook. He visits his family every weekend. This is a habitual action or a repeated actions. Every weekend he goes to his family. So it becomes a repeated action or a habitual action. So what we can say, these kind of sentences are indicated in simple present tense. Okay, or else like what do you mean by customs? Customs means the things which happen like a routine or like something like that. For example, there is an example which is given in a textbook. We whitewash a house before Diwali. We whitewash a house before Diwali. What does it mean? Before every Diwali, they whitewash their house. It becomes a custom. Or like they for example, he goes to bed at 11 o'clock every night. He goes to bed at 11 o'clock every night. It becomes a habitual or a repeated action. Every day the same thing is happening. So in order to speak about the same thing which is happening repeatedly, or a habitual action, or a custom like, we use simple present tense. These are the two, three things like fact, repeated actions, then customs, then we have habits. Habits. What do you mean by habit? It is like I take bath every day. I take bath every day. I brush my teeth every day. So this is a habit. Every day I do. And so it becomes a habit. So always when we speak about a habit or something of that sort, what do? We always say in simple present tense. And there is one more. When we speak about abilities, when we speak about ability, we use simple present tense. For example, I play football. I play football very well. She plays tennis very well. She plays tennis very well. So what does it mean? Here we show an ability, or we speak about an ability. And so what happens? There is the simple present tense is used in order to indicate a ability. I play football very well. I'm talking about my ability to play football very well. She plays football and tennis very well. The ability to play tennis very well. She's able to play tennis very well. That is an ability. And so we will use simple present tense in order to indicate an ability. Okay. So here we have seen few things like when we speak about fact, repeated actions, customs, habits, and ability. So when we speak about these things like fact, repeated actions, customs, habits, and ability, we use simple present tense. And the last one. The last one is all about the future. So you might wonder, how can we use simple present tense in order to speak about a future action? There is a chance. See, you might have heard about conditional sentences. Have you heard about conditional sentences? It is there are three types of conditional sentences. So the structure of a conditional sentence is there will be there will be two parts for the sentence. Like one is the conditional clause and another one is the main clause. Okay, so in the conditional clause, or we can say the first type of conditional sentences, we use simple present tense. For example, with if clause, we will use simple present tense. I'll give an example. If he comes tomorrow, we shall remind him. The first part of the sentence, that is the if clause, is all about simple present tense. And the second part of the sentence is in future tense. It's because in the first part of the sentence, that is in the if clause, it gives a condition, or it put forward a condition. That is, if the person is coming, they will remind. So there is a condition. If the person is coming, if the person is not coming, what will happen? They won't be able to remind him about so and so. So in the first type of conditional sentence, we will use simple present tense. So we won't be able to use it in other situations, like in order to speak about a future action. But only with the help of conditional sentence, we are able to use simple present tense in the sentence. For example, if he comes tomorrow, we shall remind him. If the person is not coming to the next day, what will happen? They won't be able to remind them, or remind him, remind her, whatever it is. Okay, so I hope you understood what I said. So with the help of conditional sentence, we will be able to use simple present tense in order to speak about a future action. For example, if he comes tomorrow, we shall remind him. We cannot use he comes tomorrow, because that'll be wrong. But with the help of if there is a sentence like if he comes, or if he goes tomorrow, whatever it is, we will be able to use the particular sentence in the particular tense in the sentence. So the last one is the future. So the last one is future. So here we spoke about the fact, the repeated actions, customs, habits, ability, and future. So what do you understand from this? Simple present tense is used to indicate about the fact, repeated actions, customs, habits, ability, and the future. Okay, so when we speak about future, don't think that we are able to use simple present tense in order to speak about a future action, but it is used only with the conditional sentence. That also first type of conditional sentence. There are three types of conditional sentences. So we will speak about all those when we study about conditional sentence. We'll study in detail. Okay, so but for the time being, the first type of conditional sentence is used, when it is used, we will use simple present tense in the sentence. That is also with the if clause. There will be a main clause. See, for conditional sentence, there will be two clauses. One is the if clause and another one is the main clause. So the main clause will be in a future tense, and the if clause will be in a simple present tense. So that is the use of simple present tense in order to speak about future action. Okay, I hope it is clear. Shall we move on to the next one? That is present continuous tense and the usages of it. Okay. What do you mean by a present continuous tense? It's a progressive tense. It speaks about an action which is moving on or going on. So in order to speak about an action which is moving on, we will use present continuous tense. I think there is no doubt with regard to that. And some people used to say there is a present progressive tense. which means it is progressing, or else we can say present continuous, which means the action which is continuing. So we speak about an action which is continuing. So now, what is the structure of the sentence? So before we move to the usages and where to use and so on, we must know what is the structure of the sentence. It is subject plus is or am or are plus verb plus ing plus object. For example, he is coming to school. He is coming to school. I am taking, or I am teaching English. I am teaching English. So I'm teaching English. So here I subject, am is the helping verb, and teach is the verb, and ing form is also used plus object. So this is the structure of the present continuous tense. So I don't think I have to say more about this, because you might have studied all these things in your previous classes. So I shouldn't speak more about the structure and so on. Rather, I speak about the usages, or what are the usages of the present continuous tense. So basically, present continuous tense is used to indicate what is happening now. Is it? Because it speaks about the present action which is continuing. For example, I'm teaching English. I'm talking to you. You are listening to me. So all these are the things which are happening now. So the first one is what is happening now. Okay. The first point in it, what is happening now? What is happening now? What is happening now? That is the first point which we have to see. Because present continuous tense speaks about an action which is continuing in the present. So now I am talking to you. You are listening to me. So the structure is the same. You are listening to me. Or there is an example which is given in your textbook, like we are eating. She is singing. He is dancing. They are dancing. They are listening. They are howling. So whatever it is, there is what is happening now is more important. Okay, so that is with regard to it. So that is the first point in the present continuous tense. Present continuous tense is used to indicate what is happening now, and then present continuous is used to indicate the temporary habit. The temporary habit, not the permanent habits, like the temporary habits. For example, I'm traveling by bus to my office. I'm traveling by bus to my office. So what does it mean? It's a temporary habit. Sometimes he might take a rickshaw, or he might take a car, or whatever it is. But here he says, I'm traveling by bus to my office. Is traveling to his office by bus. And so this becomes a temporary habit. So the next one is a temporary habit. Temporary habit. Temporary habit. Like students are learning fast these days. Students are learning fast these days. There might be a change after 2-3 days. So we are not so sure. So it did not become a permanent habit. it is still a temporary habit. So in order to speak about a temporary habit, we use present continuous tense. So in order to indicate a temporary habit, we use the present continuous tense. The next one, speak about future. Present continuous tense is used to indicate an action which will be happening in the future. I'll give an example. Like, I am going to Gorakhpur tomorrow. I'm going to Gorakhpur tomorrow. Or when are you coming tomorrow? When are you coming tomorrow? So all these are actions which will be happening in the past. In the future. And so what I say, I use present continuous tense in order to speak about a future action which will be happening. Like, when are you coming tomorrow? It's a question. When are you coming tomorrow? So I use present continuous tense in order to speak about a future action which will be happening. Or else, my nephew is arriving this evening. He hasn't arrived, or he's not arriving. He will be arriving in the evening only. So what will happen? This is a sentence which is in a present continuous, but speaks about an action which will be happening in the future. Like, I'm going to Gorakhpur tomorrow. So I'm speaking about an action which will be happening in the future, not now. So present continuous tense also can be used in order to speak about an action which will be happening in the future. Okay. So the third one is future tense. The future. In order to speak about a future action, we can use present continuous tense. And now the last one. There are repeated happening or coincidences. Repeated happenings or coincidences. Like, Reena is always losing her pen. Reena is always losing her pen. For example, the present continuous tense is used to show unavoidable coincidences or events for which there is no proper explanation. So, in order to speak about an action which have an action which happened and there is no reason for that. So without a reason, it might happen. Like, Reena is always losing her pen. So what is the reason behind it? We might not be able to find out what is the reason behind it. Or like, his bicycle is always breaking down. What is the problem? We may not be able to find out what is the problem exactly. It's just like coincidence, or a repeated happening. It becomes, or like, if the cycle is breaking down every day or every week, what will happen? It becomes a repeated happening. So in order to speak about a repeated happening, what can we use? We can use present continuous tense. So let me write. So repeated happening. Repeated happening or coincidences. So repeated happenings or coincidences. So it can happen like maybe a coincidence, but we may not be able to give a proper explanation for this. Okay, so in order to speak about a repeated happening or a coincidence, we use present continuous tense. So this is all about the present continuous. And what did we learn today? Like, in present continuous, we spoke about the structure of the sentence. That is, subject is plus verb plus ing plus object. This is the structure of the sentence. And where do we use, or what are the usages of these tenses, like the present continuous tense? That is what is happening now. If you want to speak about the things which are happening or continuing now, is said in present continuous. And then temporary habit. See, temporary habits are said in a present continuous tense. So the permanent habits, what we say, or the habitual actions, or other kind of things, will be said in a simple present tense, and the temporary habits are said in a present continuous tense. And the third one is, in order to speak about a future action, like as I said, my nephew is arriving this evening. So what does it mean? Mean that the person hasn't arrived yet to arrive. So it becomes a future. It becomes a future action. So what happens? The future action is also said in a present continuous tense. The last one, repeated actions or repeated happenings or coincidences. So the repeated happening, like as I said, Reina is always losing her pen. It becomes a repeated happening or might be a coincidence. So this also said in a simple present continuous tense. Okay, so that is all about it. And now we have to speak something else or something else about the present continuous tense. So there are some verbs which are there that cannot be used as a, or like we won't use the ing form with those kind of verbs. So we will just see what are those kind of things and other the details of those kind of tenses. Okay. Okay. So these kind of verbs are known as stative verb. So in your page number 67, we can see stative verb. So there are many verbs which are normally not used in a continuous tense. Like we will not use ing with those kind of verbs. So those kind of verbs are known as stative verbs. S-T-A-T-I-V-E. Stative verbs. So these stative verbs are divided into 5 kinds. Stative verbs are divided into 5 kinds. So we'll just see. Such words describe a state and not an action. Those particular like stative verbs describe about a state of being or whatever it is. It won't speak about an action. Okay, like stative verbs are of 5 kinds. The first one is verbs of sense and perception. Verbs of sense and perception. What does it mean? The things what we hear, the things what we see, and what we smell, and so on. So all these things becomes stative because it speak about or describe about a state, not about an action which is there. It speaks about a state of being, like I hear, or whatever it is. We will not say I'm hearing. We'll not say I'm smelling. We'll not say I'm tasting. We will not use ing form with these kind of verbs. So these kind of verbs are known as stative verbs. And the next one is verbs of emotions. So when we speak about emotions or other kind of things like love, hate, like, dislike, adore, and so on, we will not use ing form with these kind of things. So we will not say I am liking this pen, or I am loving this flower. I just say I love this, or I like this, because these words speak about or describe about a state of being. It does not speak about an action. When we use it as a verb, it does not speak about an action. It speaks about a state of being. For example, I love this rose. What does it indicate? That is my state of mind, or I'm speaking about the particular flower which I love. Or when we speak about emotions like dislike, adore, wish, mind, want, and so on. So there is an example which is given in your textbook. I want to have some rest. Will not say I'm wanting to have some rest. We'll just say I want to have some rest. Because the word want speak about or describe about a state, not about a action which will be happening or which is happening. It just speak about a state of being. Or like he likes idli and sambar. He likes idli and sambar. So here the particular verb speak about not about an action. It's about a state of being. Okay. And the next one that is C is the verbs of mental state and activity, like agree, dislike, believe, disbelieve, doubt, trust, differ, find, forgot, imagine, and so on. So all these verbs, so when these words are used as verbs in the sentence, there won't be an ing form of these sentences. Why? Because these words are, or these verbs are stative verbs, which speaks about a action, which does not speak about an action, but speak about a state of being. For example, the word believe, dislike, trust, then forget, imagine, know, mean, recollect, remember, think, suppose. So all these words won't be using or won't be having ing form. The next one, verbs of possession, like on, belong, possess. I own this job. This job belongs to me. This job belongs to me. I won't be able to say I am belonging in this job, or this job is belonging to me. That particular sentence is wrong. So what we can say, the chalk belongs to me. The chalk belongs to me, or the textbook belongs to me, or the textbook belongs to him. Whatever it is. So with stative verbs, we will not use ing form. Okay, and the last one in stative verb is some other verbs such as like appear, seem, look, contain, consist, require, resemble, suffice, include, and so on. So all these words also won't be having an ing form along with the words. So this is all about the particular chapter, not about chapter, with regard to the simple present and the present continuous. So we will have a conclusion like in simple present we have we spoke about the structure, that is subject, verb, the first form of the verb plus object, and the simple present tense is used to indicate about fact, repeated actions, customs, habits, then abilities, and also about the future. And then we came to present continuous tense, and the present continuous tense is used to indicate what is happening now, and the temporary habit, the future, and also about the repeated actions or repeated happenings or coincidences. So this is all about simple present and present continuous. And then we moved on to see about the stative verbs, which is divided into 5 kinds. And what do you mean by stative verbs? There are words or verbs which are used to indicate a state, not about an action. Okay. So here we have the stative verbs, the kinds of stative verbs like verbs of sense and perception, verbs of emotions, verbs of smell and activity, and verbs of possession, and there are some other kind of things also. So I hope you understood this session, and so kindly have a look at all these kind of things, which is in page number 66 and 67, 66, 67, and 68. So the rest of the things like present perfect tense and the present perfect continuous will see in the next class. So I think the class is tomorrow, so we will see tomorrow. Okay, thank you.